work? Jackson, it's gonna work?
I think it may work at this moment in time, but I don't think it'll work later.
Why?
Since if we do it for long enough of time, it will mess up our wind patterns.
Well, doesn't know what's mess up our wind pattern if we do it for too long of a time. Jason?
If you get too much energy, the climate will change.
Too much energy, the climate will change. Why? Is that good or bad? Is it good or bad for our climate to change? What do you think? Bad? Right, I want to pose a question that I think it was the second video, but they said, do we have the moral right to mess with climate?
No.
So what do you guys think? Do we have the moral right to change and to alter our climate?
Are we already doing that?
How so?
Climate change, global warming.
Okay, but what are we doing to make climate change global warming?
We're burning fossil fuels, so aren't we already answer that question? Because we're already doing that.
That's a good point. Dawn, what do you think? Do we have the moral right? Are we already doing it with burning the fossil fuels? What do you think? Do we have the moral right to change climate?
I don't know.
Do you think it's okay?
I suppose.
You suppose? Any other reactions to the wind turbine? Jordan?
If they're going up that high and we're gonna put them all around the world, how much money is that gonna cost to take? How long is it gonna take for these to build? How long, how much fossil fuels is it gonna burn just by making these? Because there's gonna be a lot, because the world is big and we're gonna put them all over the world. And how are we gonna get there? We're already gonna be burning a lot of fossil fuels, since we're gonna be doing a lot of traveling from place to place, putting and strapping those down to the ground.
Wait, was the first part?
The first part,
Yeah. I wanted to comment on the first part.
said a lot.
I know. Oh yeah. What do you think the production process is going to be like to make these wind turbines? What do you think the production process is like to make these wind turbines? How do you think that's going to be? Good?
You'd have to melt down the metals and then place them in a cast to form them, which would take time. And then after that, you would have to use something to put them together. And then you have to make other products to make it where they can actually spin to get the energy.
Okay. This
Another thing is like, what materials are they going to use?
what would you propose that they use?
Well, you would think they would use something lightweight, obviously, since it's going to be in the atmosphere. But like what Caleb said, it's like they're using metal and stuff. And with the burning, that's burning fossil fuels to melt it. And then, like with the bonding, we don't know what materials they're going to use for bonding things, so that could use other stuff that's non-reusable resources.
Okay.
Didn't they say that when they go to launch them up into the air, the energy to make them go up wasn't going to be carbon dioxide?
What did they say? You want to touch that? Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be acquisition of lithium into the air. Right. Any other thoughts?
If they slow down wind, could you use them to like slow down negative wind things like hurricanes? So it would, they would take energy from like a hurricane wind, so it would slow down the hurricane and make it less devastating.
Do you think we could do that with wind turbines? It's interesting. It's kind of what Motion was saying. You said if you put them out too long, it would affect our wind patterns and our climate. Could we use them for both good and bad? So could we use this initial wind patterns to fuel our sources, but would they actually end up changing our wind patterns? And could we reverse that? Do you think it would be a reversible process which we could slow down or control the wind? Jeremy, can we control the wind? What do you think?
No.
No? What do you think would happen?
It'd
do you think we would keep these wind turbines up? What do you think, if this is our solution, how long do you think we keep wind turbines floating up in the atmosphere? What do you think? How long do you think? A few months? Jordan?
I think it would be quite a while since if we're just gonna stop our major energy source that we have for wind, it's gonna be up there for quite a while because we use burning fossil fuels for everything, and that's how we get our energy right now. So if we're gonna stop that and use this, then it's gonna be up there for a while. So,
Justin?
I think the wind turbines will affect the birds.
Affect the birds?
Yeah, since like they run into them, and I think if it changes the wind pattern, the birds can go to like another place where they should be going. They could affect themselves and other animals.
Oh, so now we're not just talking about climate change, now we're talking about ecosystem change. Haley?
Still use like fossil fuels and just because you're using the wind, you can't use fossil fuels.
That's true too. So we could be just an alternate source, not replacing fossil fuels. It would be a dual source.
but isn't that what we're trying to do, replace fossil fuels?
If we could maintain the levels of CO2, would we have to stop burning fossil fuels? Kill.
I would think they'd be up for multiple years for the fact climate change takes time. So it wouldn't, I mean, it would affect it slowly, but it wouldn't be a majorly bad thing if you kept them up for maybe 10 years to almost 20 years. For the fact that it takes a while for climate change to really be bad.
Okay. Justin?
I think maybe we shouldn't be putting stuff like this out just yet. Maybe we should try like test runs first. Like what we could do is we could leave one out for like 3 to 5 years just to like see what it does to affect our climate and our ecosystems. And then maybe we could see if there's any way that we can reverse the changes that it would do before we actually start putting these all over and affect everything. Okay? Yeah.
These are being held up by helium. Helium runs out and sees balloons. If you just have one on your ceiling for a long enough time, it's eventually going to fall. So if they were to keep on falling because they run out of helium, they could cause offense to the environment and they can break and have to put new repairs, which cost a lot of money and add more CO2 to do. That's right.
Yep.
Weren't they holding them up in the air with like wires and stuff to generate the energy? So wouldn't that keep them up in the air?
I think the wires are just more to leave them stationary instead of having them actually generate energy. So that the helium was lifting it and the wires were making it so it stayed in this little range. Wind turbines, overall consensus, yes? No?
No.
Yes? No? What do you think?
No.
Meh. Alright, well, we'll watch a third one and see if it sways to it on a different way. The third experiment, we are going to watch is orbital power plant. Orbital power plant. Orbital power plant.
While the debate on geoengineering intensifies, the experts agree on one major point. Global warming will continue unless we stop our use of fossil fuels forever. Next, Discovery Project Earth explores 2 bold plans to provide unlimited carbon-free power. One from orbital space, the other from the restless envelope of air above us. Fossil fuels. Our civilization craves all it can get, but it's never enough. Above and beyond the cost of using coal and crude oil, there's a hidden price. The buildup of excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere may cost us the world, unless we end our dependence on fossil fuels. But there's an alternative fuel that's cost-free, if we can just learn the best way to tap it. The sun puts out more energy every day than mankind has used in its entire history.
Collecting vast amounts of clean, sustainable, virtually limitless solar energy in space and delivering it to us here on Earth is a completely new approach.
By the time the sun reaches conventional solar panels on the ground, the atmosphere has absorbed 25% of its power. John Mankins wants to change that equation forever with an approach to solar power collection free of atmospheric interference. His plan calls for a mile-wide grid of revolutionary photoelectric cells orbiting 22,000 miles from Earth and converting solar energy into electricity. The electricity they generate is microwaved down to giant receiving stations on the Earth's surface. The stations then distribute it for use on the electric grid.
If we fail to accomplish these goals, if we don't find new energy sources, if we don't develop them in the coming years, eventually the lights will go out.
Mankins' plan is gaining support from scientists frustrated by the limitations of conventional solar technologies.
The problem with solar cells on the ground is they're shaded by clouds.
You can put a satellite there where it's continuously being hit by the sun, and then you could beam the energy back down.
John Mankins' experiment looks promising, but if it becomes a global reality, could it create as many problems as it solves?
When it comes to technologies such as collecting solar radiation and transmitting them to Earth, it raises the age-old question of who controls those sources of power, who allocates it, who uses it, who misuses it.
But overshadowing these concerns is a simple question. Can it be done in the first place? Is it technically possible? Can an invisible beam of energy free the planet's economy from its dependence on fossil fuels